That's some good tea. This is my labor and delivery story time. Okay. So, I should have written notes down, but I didn't. So let's just fly off the seats. It was, you know what's gonna help me when I go to my calendar, because I put almost everything in my calendar. Okay. So it was February 13th. It all started February 13th. I went in for my normal checkup, and my midwife told me that I was only like 1 centimeter dilated. Now, mind you, I was due February 10th. So she suggested to do a membrane sweep, which we had spoken about. I had done the research. So I was like, okay, if it doesn't start progressing, let's just go ahead and do a membrane sweep. Don't ask me the specifics about a membrane sweep, but just in me and you terms, basically, if you've ever been pregnant and your midwife or your OB has gone in and checked your cervix, it's very uncomfortable and painful. And I noticed that it's more uncomfortable. Okay, here you go. You gotta learn how to keep this in your mouth, bro. Okay. I don't know if Luke is gonna let me live. There we go. It's more uncomfortable when you are not dilated a lot. So it was uncomfortable. The membrane sweep is even more uncomfortable because she literally reaches her whole hand in there and like has to go like this, 3 times. So she does the membrane sweep. I feel light cramps afterwards, and I'm like, okay. I'm thinking, okay, my water's gonna break at any time. It didn't. I went home. It was like normal. I was like on my ball. I was bouncing. Like nothing was happening. I hadn't lost my mucus plug. I'm gonna be honest, I was not doing the things that I could have been doing to progress the labor naturally. So I was just like, okay. So then I scheduled my induction. My induction was always scheduled for the 14th because I wanted my midwife, who I had been seeing for the whole duration pretty much of my pregnancy, to deliver. So you know how that is. It's always about whoever's on call at that time. You never know when the baby is gonna come, whatever. But I still tried to schedule when I knew she would be there, when I thought, the baby would come after induction. So induction lasts for usually people, when it's your first baby, you just don't fly into labor when they induce you. It kind of takes time as well. So they were telling me when I got there that it might be like 24 hours. And I'm like, okay. Now, I'm not the type of person, I'm not going to say that I was in labor for 36 or 48 hours, because I don't call labor, I don't call just laboring, meaning that your cervix is dilating or whatever. I don't call that when you're going from 1 to 2, 2 to 3 labor. I'm going to count my active labor as how long I was in. He want to make all this noise as soon as I start recording. Shh. He probably like, you need to be quiet. It's not me, it's you. So anyway, I'm not going to count my inactive labor, 2 to 3 as, whatever. So I go in on Valentine's Day, and the first thing they do to induce my labor is something I believe is called the Folly bulb. They did that. Yo, I'm not trying to scare you all, but that was painful. And no one warned me that it would be painful like that, first of all. So they put that in, and immediately I started to get the worst period cramps I had ever felt in my life. On top of that, I hadn't done number 2, and I immediately had to do that. So it was bad. So I started to realize, yo, these are contractions. I'm gonna let you finish. So I was like, this is crazy. I was literally praying, because it was very painful. I remember having to do this breathing, because nothing, it was bad. So then I was like, I need something to take the edge off, because this is, so they bring me the laughing gas in. This is February 14th. And it did not work for me. Like, first of all, the thing that went over my face was so big that it made me feel like I was suffocating every time so I was like, I can't do that. So they took it away. They gave me, I believe, fentanyl or something like that. Now, mind you, I was saying that I wanted a natural labor. I didn't think I was gonna make it, because if I was hurting like that, and that was just like the beginning, I'm like, yo, I'm just gonna say, I was like, I don't have a tolerance for pain in this area. Like, I can do a lot of other things. I can push myself in the gym. I can, like, mentally, like, do things. But when it comes to down there, being in pain, all bets are off. So they gave me that medicine, and that kind of took the edge off, but I still remember it was still, because it only lasts for 30 minutes, it was still very painful. So they were like, yeah, the follow bulb has to, fall out, and by that time you should be about 6 centimeters dilated or something like that. So everything started to get like foggy around this time, because I'm just like, what is happening? Like, what is about to happen? So I go to sleep. The next day, a new nurse, comes, and she's just like, oh, has it always been hanging like this? The folly bulb had fallen out, but I guess no one noticed. We don't know when it fell out, whatever. At that point, they said that I was probably only about 4 centimeters dilated. So my midwife comes in, and she's just like, yeah, this is the 15th. She's like, yeah, like, I don't know, like, we got to probably, I would recommend the Pitocin. And now, I didn't want to do Pitocin because I had heard horror stories about Pitocin, and I was still in my mind thinking, if I don't have to do Pitocin, I can just use this 30-minute medicine, and I don't have to get an epidural, because I was very afraid of getting an epidural, because sticking a needle in my back, no thank you, bro. So either way, she's like, we're gonna have to introduce the Pitocin. So I'm like, let me just brace myself, because I've heard horror stories when the Pitocin comes in, the pain is on and popping. So hair check. So they come in, they do the Pitocin, they give me the drip, and I'm just like bracing myself. 1 hour goes by, 2 hours go by, like hours go by, and nothing's happening. And I'm like, yo, I think I'm broken, because, and I'm like, or I'm just handling this like a champ, and I'm dilating like crazy, and y'all was tripping about the Pitocin. It's not that bad. I took a walk. I was bouncing on the ball. Like, I'm trying to get this show on the road. This is the 15th. So this is day 2 in the hospital. So I'm like, yo, like, something gotta give. So they had me on the Pitocin all day, and nothing really was happening. So the new midwife comes in. So now my dream of having my midwife, who I have been working with for all my pregnancy, deliver me, is out the window. But at this point, I don't even care. I'm just like, I'm praying about it. It's good. So the new midwife comes in. She's super nice. Mind you, my nurses were like the bomb, and I'm really big on that. They were cool. I'm not gonna say all my nurses, they were cool. But then the other midwife comes in, and she's just like, yeah, if you haven't, I'm gonna check you. If you haven't really, dilated, once I'm in there, we might as well go ahead and break your water. What I really liked about the care that I was getting was that they were gonna let me do what I felt I should do until they had to medically intervene, because it was going to be unsafe for me or unsafe for the baby. But at that point, she was like, we can keep waiting it out, or I could break your water. And I'm like, if you go in there and I'm not dilating the way I should be, break my water. So, because listen, you're not gonna keep on reaching. Every time she reaches in there, it is the most painful thing ever. So I'm like, okay. So she goes in and she's just like, you're about the same as far as dilation. So I just keep on getting bad news about where I am in dilation. You know, you have to be 10 centimeters dilated to begin to push. So the great thing about it is that Luca's heartbeat was so good pretty much the whole time. It kind of went a little high when the first nurse came in, but I think he felt that I felt some type of way about her. But anyway, we're not gonna talk about that. But anyway, so she's just like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, break your water. So she breaks my water, and that felt surprisingly good, which was crazy. It felt like a release. And they said they were gonna go ahead and, because at one point they turned the Pitocin off because it wasn't doing anything. So she said she was gonna reintroduce the Pitocin after she broke my water. Baby, when she broke my water and put that Pitocin back on me, I was like, this is it. Because that pain, I was like, what is going on? So I'm like trying to like just get through it, because I'm like, at this point I'm not thinking, where am I think I wanted to get through as much pain as possible, because I wanted to just be 10 centimeters, like period. I wanted to just be 10 centimeters. So I went through a lot of the contractions without any medicine. And then finally when my nurse came back in, I was like, I need some more fentanyl. And she was like, this nurse, I didn't too much. I was like, She comes back, like literally to me, it has to be like 20 to 30 minutes later. And when I'm telling you I'm in pain, you need to come right back. But she comes back, she's like, we don't have any more fentanyl, but we have something else. And I look at my husband because he knows pharmacy. So I'm like, what is that? And he's like, it's pretty much the same thing as fentanyl. No, it wasn't. When they gave me that, I swear I started hallucinating. Y'all, I started hallucinating. I didn't know if what I was thinking was I saying it out loud. And I was looking at my husband. I was like, yo, I feel like I'm going crazy. Because I'm like the type of person, I really always want to have a grip. Like, that's why I don't like crazy. I'm never crazy drunk, nothing like that, because I always want to have a grip. So I'm like, I felt like I was losing grip on what was happening, and that was not okay. So I told her, no more. And on top of that, it's making me hallucinate and stuff, and I still feel the contractions strongly. So I'm like, yo. So I tell her, listen, I need the epidural. I need the epidural. So she's just like, all right. So, you know, I'm like, listen, I don't even care. I know I said I wasn't going to do the epidural. I was so scared, but I was like, I need the epidural. If you don't have the fentanyl, this medicine isn't working, I need the epidural. Like, it was hard. So what's worse is that I did not get footage of me going through all of this, because I have to tell everyone what to do, because people don't do things without me telling them. So I was in so much pain, I didn't care about recording. I was not thinking about this, you know? So, hello, how are you? Okay, it's all right. So I'm like, yeah. So they come in and the doctor comes in with the epidural, and he's like, listen, at this point, the other medicine, whatever they gave me, it was wearing off. And I was like, whatever you got to do, me and you, talking to the guy who was administering the epidural, we were here. Whatever you need me to do. So he's like, they're setting me up. I got a new nurse. I loved this nurse. Like, literally, we follow each other on Instagram now. She was the bomb. Like, she was the bomb. Like, I know I probably got smart with her a few times because I was in so much pain, but she never changed. Like, she was so professional. She was so good. Because if y'all don't know, like, the nurses take care of you a lot. Your midwife comes in like sporadically, like if something's going wrong, but the nurses are like, they're like the damn doctor to me, you know? So she was so good. She was so dope. She made this experience the best experience I could ever imagine having. Her and the midwife, like everything together, it was perfect. So I'm like, listen, I just need this epidural. So he gives me the epidural, and I'm so serious, y'all, that I looked at that man. I said, how do you think you did? And he says, I think I did good. I did. I was like, you got to sound more confident than that. He's like, I did great. I'm like, good. Because, I mean, listen, it was something that I had been afraid of forever. I remember my sister and I looking at a baby story on TLC and seeing them do the epidural, and I was afraid of it. Like, I was like, ooh, that looks so scary. So the fact that I got through that was like, it was like me facing one of my biggest fears. I don't think anyone knew how afraid I was of an epidural. That's why I even started saying I wanted to have a natural birth. But I mean, it was a not that scary process. I think it was all in my mind thinking like, if I move, I could be paralyzed or something like that. But anyway, we get through it. I have to say, and I wish my husband was up right now, so I don't want to be a liar. I probably had that epidural for all of 10, okay, maybe 20 or 30 minutes, I want to say. And life was bliss. I was still in this really focused mode because I was ready to get it over with. And at this time, it's like midnight. And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to get it over with. So I think maybe an hour or so passed, and the midwife came in, and I just felt like she was gonna come in, and I still had time because I only had the epidural for like an hour. So I'm thinking like, I'm probably still, I'm probably at 6 right now. She reaches in and she's like, and this time when she reaches in, no pain, obviously, I guess because of the epidural, but it just felt so, like when she was like in there, I'm just like, yo, it feels really different. It felt soft and different and just open, and I'm just like, okay. So I'm like, maybe this is 6. She's just like, you're ready to push, you're at 10. I'm like, yo, that was the best thing I could ever imagine to hear. So as I get prepared to push, we're talking about how I want to push, and I really wanted to push like squatting or like on all fours, because I always felt like pushing laying on your back was unnatural. Forgetting the order and things that happen with the labor. It's crazy.
I don't know why you waited so long.
I know, I did wait a really long time to do this. Okay, so it was time for me to push, and they did some practice pushing. The pushing was weird for me because I didn't know like how to feel, and at first I wasn't pushing right, but I could still feel myself, and I kept on telling her, I feel like I have to poop. So is that me knowing I have to push? And they're like, yes. Oh, I know how to poop. So it's like I knew how to push. So once I kind of understood that, and it was like push like you're gonna poop, I understood, because I think people kind of feel like the push will come from you would feel it, a lot. And of course I had the epidural, but I still felt that need and urge to push, and I could still feel myself pushing. But at first I think I was pushing, like thinking about like my vagina and like pushing, but really it's kind of like a back push. It's like a back push. Maybe everyone's different, but that's what I felt. So I started pushing, and I literally pushed for 20 minutes, and Luca came, like boom, he came out, and my whole life changed. Like I think that for me, like the experience was not what I expected. I really saw a difference in myself, like because I was so serious. I wasn't, I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, like this is so exciting. I felt very, very, tuned in and serious, because I was thinking about a lot of things. I was thinking about my safety, the safety of my son. I was thinking like, I know I'm on this epidural, so I'm not feeling as much as I should be feeling. So I wanted to really stay focused and tune into my body and what my body was telling me to do, even working through the epidural. So like when he came out, I remember like looking at like the nurse and like how hard they were like rubbing him and wiping him and stuff, and I'm just like, even though I know that she was just doing her job. But yeah, I mean, it was an amazing experience. For me, I thought that it would be different, But I know a lot of women say they push for hours and hours, but I think, like, you know, like I said, everyone's different. I only pushed for 20 minutes, and he was there, and you know, he was just so cute. He looked like he wasn't mine. His eyes were so like chinky and, you know, cute or whatever. But that was my experience, though. Like, it wasn't like life or death. Thank God. I really am so blessed to have had the experience that I had. I'm so blessed to have had the medical team that I had. My nurse was amazing. So you guys, that is my labor and delivery story. Unfortunately, we could not record the labor and delivery in that hospital. I should have still, like, you know, snuck some video in, but like I said, I was just so focused, and if I'm not like telling people to record, then no one's gonna do it. But we do have a few pictures that I'll insert in the video, and other than that, you know, I'm gonna bring Luca into the video so you all can see him if you haven't already. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed that story. I would love to hear about your labor and delivery story. Any questions that you may have for me, being that I was a first-time mom delivering, feel free to leave questions and comments, respectable questions and comments in the comment section below, and I'll see you in my next video.